Hey guys, and welcome to this episode of the Happy Knitting Podcast. My name is Julia. I'm coming to you from the UK, and today is Friday, the 13th of June 2025. Welcome if you're watching for the first time, and welcome back if you are back. Let's talk about some knitting. I'll talk about knitting first, and then we'll have a bit of embroidery as well if you want to stick around for that. As per usual, feel free to watch whatever part you're interested in, and I'll mention a little bit of life stuff towards the end. So just stay if you enjoy some knitting to begin with. Right, I am wearing my finished object, which is my summer sweater. This is a long story which I told you 2 episodes ago if you want to find out more, but essentially I fell in love with a pattern of a sweater in this yarn from Lana Grossa, which was a German pattern. Got the yarn for it, then decided I didn't like the amount of amendments and modifications I would have had to do to the pattern to knit it in the round. The gauge didn't match, but I enjoyed the colors, so instead of using that pattern, I decided to do a top-down raglan. So I used the Flax Sweater by Tin Can Knits sort of as a starting point for the numbers, but as you can see, I did not do the garter ridges. You can't see this, but I did a split hem, so the back is much longer than the front. Yeah, basically I just played around with it to make a plain stockinette top-down sweater in this yarn, which is Lana Grossa Diversa, which is a cotton viscose blend, and honestly I like it. I really like this. Not sure if you can tell, but there's a lot of ease and drape in this yarn, and considering I don't like knitting with plant fibers, this actually was quite enjoyable to knit. It's a fingering weight yarn, and yeah, basically this is what I finished this week, which I'm really excited about. There's not that much to tell you about it, to be honest. It's just a top-down sweater. I went for 15 round stripes. As you can see, I made the sleeves 3/4 length, sort of. I made them a little bit longer than they were when I showed it to you last week. This is the length of the ribbing at the bottom back as well, so I made that match. And yeah, I'm quite happy with it. I did block it. I will say it does crinkle quite quickly. So I literally just blocked it, and then eventually when it was dry, I carefully folded it up, and you can already tell a little bit. But I think that's just the nature of this sort of fiber, so we'll just go with it, and it's absolutely fine. So yeah, that is my finished object for the week. In terms of knitting works in progress, I mostly have more garment knitting, but I'll very briefly show you the sock that I'm still working on. This is out of yarn from the Yarn Badger. This is one of their Oopsie colorways where I think the purple stripes, some of them are too long. So this was 30% off, which I decided was a good reason to join, to try my first ever Yarn Badger yarn. I am in the middle of the heel, but basically last time I showed this to you, I was, I think, about to finish the toe on the first sock. So the first sock is now done, and the second one is with the heel in progress. Sorry, every time I decide to podcast, my neighbors will come home and make me feel really awkward. Anyways, so yeah, heel in progress on the second sock. I was ill the beginning of the week, so that's when I was actually in bed last Sunday, and this is what I knit on. So that was quite nice, and I just need to pick this up and finish it. But yeah, mostly I have been focused on garments. I am definitely in a garment phase again, which you can probably tell. So let's talk first about the sweater that you have already seen. This is my second version of the Winter Speech Cardigan by Andrea Mowry, which is an all over, or like mostly cabled bottom-up cardigan with pockets, which I am not doing the pockets. As I've told you many times, if you've watched in the past, I have a pinkish version of this one and I wear it all the time. So I wanted to make a second one. And let's see. This is about where I was last time I showed it to you. So this is a little bit slow going, of course, with the cables. But isn't it just perfect? I love it so much. I think it's so beautiful. And I'm not sure if the camera will show it, but this yarn has tweedy flecks. It's a little bit, it reminds me of the Hedgehog Fibers tweed, except this is a million times more affordable. I'll talk about the yarn in a second, but yeah, I love it so much. I think the cables are showing up really, really well. It's always a bit hard to take a photo or video of this one, but trust me when I say it's a beautiful color. And the yarn is a Danish yarn from Garnet Silk. This is Black Hill Reborn, which is 80% merino and 20% other fibers, which I think probably makes up most of the neps. This is a sport weight yarn, which I am knitting to a DK weight gauge to fit the pattern. I actually looked this up and they still sell that yarn and it is on sale and they don't ship it to the UK, which is a shame. Understandable, but a shame. I ordered this yarn and a couple of other yarns that I have since used from Garnet Silk years and years and years ago back in Germany. So I'm really happy to be using it. It's really, really a nice yarn. It's a woolen spun, I would say. It's quite bouncy. I think it might pill a little bit just because it is not very tightly plied, but I don't mind. I think it works really well for this cardigan, and yeah, I'm very, very happy with it. Lastly, I don't even think I told you about this. You may remember a few months ago I knit a sweater along with my sister, who has recently started to become a more serious knitter. So we knit the Sunday sweater together, which I made that sort of tealy green blue version, which I have since I have finally blocked it and started wearing it, which is great. And while I was knitting on that, you may remember I was also knitting on my Olga sweater, which is a striped sweater by Petite Knit. And I kept telling her she needs to knit that one next, and she has finally decided to actually do that. And she, of course, it didn't take much to convince me to knit another Olga sweater with her. So the yarn that she chose was Drops Cotton Merino, and I actually thought that was quite a good idea. My very, very first sweaters were made out of this yarn, back 10-ish, 11-ish years ago. And I know I always used to like this yarn. It's a cotton merino blend. What blend is it? Oh, it's 50-50 wool and cotton. And it is 110 meters to 50 grams. So when she bought this yarn, I was like, I'll just look at projects on Ravelry of others who have used this yarn and see if I like a color combination. And I shouldn't have looked because of course I fell in love. So I got these two colors to make my second Olga sweater to knit along with my sister. This one is color 6. This one I don't know. I think it's called Raspberry something. If I find another tag, I will let you know. But yeah, I chose these two colors. My sister is doing like a cream and olive green, I think. And then I jumped the gun and started knitting the sweater while my poor sister hasn't even had time to start hers. Because I was like, I'll just do the swatch, and then one thing led to the next. So in terms of the swatch, I couldn't quite get gauge. But on my second try, I was just like one stitch off. So I am adjusting size-wise. I'm knitting a slightly larger size with a slightly like smaller stitches. And I've done the maths, and honestly, I couldn't stop. So this is where we're at. Isn't this so fun? I love this so much. My husband thinks these colors are really ugly together, and I think they're amazing. I really, really like them. So what you do with the Olga sweater is you knit this sort of trapezoid shape on the back first with short rows, which I think is done in a really sort of clever but simple way. And then you pick up one front, another front, increase, join it together, knit the front back and forth, and then finally I have just about joined the whole thing in the round. So from here on out, this will be really, really simple, and honestly, I love it. It's a bit bonkers, but I really, really like a striped sweater. I really like a colorful sweater, and yeah, this ticks both boxes. And can you just see, this is the back, so this is sort of where the back connects to the front, and I just think this construction works really well. I really like it. And my first Olga sweater I have worn quite a bit, so I'm happy to have a cotton wool one, which I think will be like a nice sweatshirty one, and I've made it quite oversized. We'll see if that works out with gauge and blocking, but it should. And yeah, I'm really, really happy with it. Obviously, this is a very different beast to the one I made previously. The previous one I'd used 4 or 5 colors, and I used a sort of high-end non-superwash wool from Rauwerk. This is a complete opposite. This is sort of a more budget version using a superwash wool and cotton. But honestly, I also really like it. So yeah, I think when I have a moment, I will try to attach the neckline, just because I enjoy that being done. And then also when you try it on, you get a more like proper look at how everything fits. But yeah, I love it. I have been working on this quite a lot, as you can tell, and I'm really, really happy with it. So yeah, that is my Olga sweater number 2. I'm knitting the 5th size to, I think, achieve the 4th size in terms of the measurements. We'll see how that works out. But yeah, I'm very, very excited about this. And I am using 3.5mm needles for it as well. And most excitingly, I did carry the colors for the stripes, but in the beginning there's still quite a lot of ends because you keep, joining different pieces, but all the ends are now woven in, so I don't have to worry about that anymore, which is great. So yeah, that is my Olga sweater number 2 out of Drops Cotton Merino. I hope I have enough yarn. I think I've got 6 of the red, which I'm also going to use for the neckband, and 5 of the pink. I will say, I did swatch with the red, but I swatched it shouldn't really take very much yarn. But I ran out of my first ball of red much quicker than I ran out of my first ball of the pink. So I wonder if maybe one of them is underweight or overweight. I'm not sure. But yeah, fingers crossed, it should all be fine. We'll make it work. And the good thing is, if I do use up most of the yarn, that'll make me really happy, because I don't really want to have massive amounts of yarns left over either. But obviously I'm also playing with gauge a little bit, so we shall see. Who knows? Who knows what will happen? But yeah, that is basically what I've been knitting on this week. So I'll quickly show you how this sweater looks in a proper angle, if that works out. If not, I'll be back in a second. And then we'll talk about some embroidery. So this is what the sweater looks on. Can you see? It's longer in the back, shorter in the front. It's quite relaxed with the sleeves, although I am notoriously pushing up my sleeves all the time. But yeah, I think it looks really sort of nice and relaxed. So it should be like a simple sweater to throw on. This is over a dress. Obviously, I could just throw it on with some jeans. And yeah, I hope I get some wear out of this at some point. Right, so in terms of embroidery, I have 2 things to show you. One is a work in progress and one is a finished project. So this is my monthly knitting, stitching journal, I should say, which my sisters gave me this fabric for Christmas. This is from Stitch Doodles here in the UK. And what you do is you do obviously 1 month, every month you stitch a little section. There are lots of these out there. Lots of people also make up their own versions where you don't have sort of printed fabric, you just make your own symbols. But I enjoy just going along, like basically like coloring in or color by number or something like that. So I'm not sure if I even showed you, I finished May really quite late, possibly even early June. And then I actually did June. And I really like how it's turned out. Yeah, I'm trying to use like summery colors, and honestly, like just this finished half, I really love it, both like the way it looks and the way it feels. I am really happy with it. And yeah, so I'm back on track, which is great because I was seriously falling behind at some point. And it's nice to see half of it being done, like you can get an idea of how it will all look once it's all finished by the end of the year. So I did that, which it never looks like much stitching, but it's quite fiddly. And then this morning, I also finally finished my hoop club project. So this is part of the Hoop Club by Clara. I think every quarter they bring out a new kit with a different designer each time to stitch. So I'm part of the club, but I skipped the most recent version because I basically try to only get it when I really fall in love with the designs. And this one, I just love it so much. And it took me ages to finish this. I just kept putting it down. It's all done in one color. But yeah, I'm really quite happy with it. It was quite a lot of stitching. Even though you're working with sort of 3 strands of thread at a time, it definitely didn't go quick. But now that it's done, I like the effect that it gives. And yeah, it's ready to hang up. It's all finished. It looks like a mess on the back, but you're not meant to look at the back, right? It doesn't matter, and I'm really proud of it. So this is done, which means theoretically I could start thinking about other not hoop club projects, other embroidery projects, for which maybe actually I could show you some plans. Let's see. Sorry, this is a podcast of just stopping and starting a million times today. So this is the Clara logo. And ages ago, they had a sale of pre-printed fabric, like leftovers and scraps and stuff. And it wasn't that expensive. I think she had like a small and a large collection that you could just like sign up for one, and you get what you get. And it said that you get, I think, 8 pieces of fabric to stitch on. Excuse the crinkles. And I got so much more. So essentially, I don't have to buy any embroidery projects or kits for a long time, because I'm just going to quickly run through these. All of these obviously are pre-printed fabrics. And I do have quite a good collection of thread by now, so I can probably just, wing it, make something up. So I've got this little owl, which is cute. I've got this little guy who I think my son really liked that one. Some of them are quite small. This one says take care. I can't speak anymore. This one is You Go Girl, which I think this maybe stitched in pink for my office would be quite cool. I think some of these might become gifts. But yeah, I got all of these fabrics. I think all of them cost me like, I don't know, 15 quid, something like that. This one I have actually thought about purchasing as a kit previously. This one I really like. This one not so much my taste, but again, I think if you stitch it up, it could be really cool. So I basically need to look what other people have done just to get some inspiration. This is another one that I've been wanting or looking at for a while as well, so I was really excited about that one. Then we have What a Time to Be Alive, which is fun. Take Your Dreams Seriously. And plant one, grow love. I think that's also quite cute. So all of these are just really fun, and I think they're just really, really good value, if I may say so. I'm not sponsored. No idea what I'll do next, but I think I might have a look at these and look at some threads and maybe put something together soon. Because, now I feel like that hoop club project just held me back for a long time. Like, I didn't let myself start anything new. But now that this is done, maybe I do one of the small ones just to have a little bit of fun and just play around. And yeah, I am quite excited by all of the stitching again, which is great. Because stitching is just so good when you're also like listening to an audiobook or a podcast. It's very, very relaxing. Right, so this is all of my crafting for this week. Not that much to write home about otherwise. It's just been a really, really busy week. Obviously, my family were here over the weekend, and then first my dad was ill, then I got ill, then we all got over it. But also my son's school is wrapping up soon, so I feel like every day there's something, like they're having a show and dress rehearsals, and they had sports days, and it's just all a bit manic, which is, it's nice, but it's also very busy. And obviously we also then have the very, very long summer holidays coming up, which is terrifying because we'll be working around my son. So just trying to enjoy the quiet whenever, if possible, I can. I'm not sure if I can podcast next week because my son will have some days off school, of course. We'll see, but I'll be back soon. Hopefully with loads more knitted sweaters. Who knows? Maybe I'll get carried away with one of them. Some stitching. And until then, please do let me know what you're working on. I always love hearing it. Even if sometimes I don't reply to your comment, please do know that they make me so happy to see them and to read them and to get some inspiration. I hope that wherever you are in the world that you're healthy and safe and have some yarn to play with. Until I see you again, thank you so much for watching. Happy knitting, happy crafting. Bye!